Okay, welcome everybody to a rather stressed out start. I apologize, but I had no control. Everything that could go wrong before setting up for this class did go wrong, including that Zoom wasn't loading. It's always loaded. It took me 3 tries to get it to load, and everything else. You don't want to hear the details. But before that, there were delays from both the readers I met with who had to return papers, which of course are important. And of course I had to pay them. And that wasn't their fault, but problems causing that to delay each time everything went wrong, it was another 5-minute delay. So I didn't actually get to the laptop to let you guys in until 2:58. And I've been on campus for an hour. Just too much else. I got to my laptop earlier, but it took about 8 minutes to go through all the steps, which it normally takes about 2. So if you're curious why you didn't see an invitation earlier, that's the reason. Normally I would have sent it by 2:52 or so. Okay, let's see. What do we have here? Admit all. Yeah, we want to. Anybody else? Good. I'm going to give it a few minutes before we start the review, because the review is what we're here for. There are no new slides. We've done with those. Of course, you all know that. And this will be posted on, of course, YouTube. Not the exam itself, but this, session, which will give you a chance in case, you either want to review what is going to be and what isn't going to be on the final, or the general procedures for submitting the final. We're going to go over those first, and then we're going to do the reduction process, I call it, or procedure, which is to your advantage, of course, where I cut down by, I put it in writing, it's 40%, I believe it is. No, actually, it's 50%. 50% total slides. That's the most I've ever cut, which of course gives you guys, the benefit of not having to waste your time studying the other half of slides that won't be on the exam. The same thing, it won't be 50%, but at least 1/3 of the terms of the definitions. We'll do the same thing with those. Okay, but before we get to that, I've gotten several late papers, and that's good because the deadline is midnight this Friday. So if you're one of those, I'm not going to repeat that list. I already did that with the lecture. That'll be posted too from Monday, where I just gave people a heads up if they were one of those. I didn't actually yet have a second paper, or in some cases a first. So I've gotten, whenever I get those late papers, I confirm with the student because of the fact that it is late. So I want to make sure I got it, and it will be graded, but there's no way I'm going to grade it in 2 days. I need till next week to get those grades back to people. And then you'll have the total points up to social connection, feeling of being safe. Okay, somebody needs to turn off their, wherever it is, social media. Problems. Hey, at least, guys, works for him. Something else. Somebody needs to turn down the speaker. Thank you, or whatever it is. At least we didn't try to have a class yesterday, or have to have a class yesterday with the Amazon. Did that affect anybody? I'm just curious, and we'll get straight to the process part of this. And we'll probably end a little early today, but I'll stick around for any questions you have. I always do. But first, I'm just curious, the whole Amazon meltdown thing, did that affect anybody's? I heard that Canvas was.
Yeah, I had a class on Canvas, and we were using another program called Go React, and it wouldn't set up right. So it did impact our class.
Yeah. So was it a review like this is for a final or some other final session?
Yeah, we were supposed to give our last presentation class today, but fortunately there's still maybe like 4 days left on this term. So we're going to do it tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So they're doing a makeup session. Yeah. I didn't want to have to do that to you guys because I have 3 more classes myself besides, well, including you guys final, the one I give Monday night. So Monday afternoon, Monday night, then tonight, actually 4 more classes. And 2 more in-persons. Tonight's review for the in-person, and of course Wednesday night, which is, as always happens, is on my birthday. We're giving my last final, and then I can catch my breath and start grading some of the extra credit. By the way, that I've said that several times, but I'll just cut to the chase on that. You still have that option until the end of final exams week, which would be a week from Saturday. because that is what I put in the syllabus. So you could turn in any extra credit if you choose to, up to 60 points. Nobody has 60 yet. A couple people have, I think, got to 40 or 45, but most people, if they have any, it's 10 or 15. So keep that in mind. The deadline extends beyond Friday at midnight, but the deadline for any late papers, well, that would be all it would be, right? Late work would only be one, or maybe, I don't think anybody's missing both papers, would be midnight on Friday. I have to cut it off somewhere because then I have plenty to do to catch up. And then before the exams, the onslaught, I call it, of grading your exams. And we all need time off. And so we're taking my family a few days to go out of town after Christmas, just a couple of days. But I'll have the grades turned in on time. I've never missed that deadline in 24 plus, almost 25 years of teaching here. And it's not like I'm making a big deal of it. That should be the commitment. But, you know, it's unusual that not something would have, it's not going, would another meltdown of the internet causes that to not be possible. But barring something unforeseen like that, you see, what do you call those? An act of God? No, it's an act of Bezos. Okay. It's being corny. I don't know. What happened? Nobody knows, do they? Why did that meltdown happen? But it's not affecting us. Okay. So last thing before we start the review process, any questions that you've got about past assignments or extra credit? Because we're going to go over all the requirements. Yet again, I've already started to, but I will make sure it's all 100% complete and clear to you before we finish today with what to expect on the final, which is exactly the same length, number of slides, same format, same grading points as the midterm. Any questions about extra credit or past assignments from anybody? Okay, we'll start with the fact that I'm going to send you over the weekend. I'm going to say certainly by early afternoon, well more than 24 hours. So look on Sunday night, let's say after 6 Sunday, to keep it safe, in your inboxes, and you'll see the test the way I send it to you as a PDF, of course, for the midterm. Same exact thing, 3 pages. You can write on the test if you choose to, or you can do it electronically if you have that capacity while the test is being given. Remember the 10, I'll send an email to one more time to remind everybody what I've been saying now for a couple of weeks. The test is in real time. You got to be there for the test unless there's an emergency. Again, not my policy, the district policy. If you can verify, yeah, we're just getting started. You haven't missed much. I'm just saying the test is going to be given in real time, which means that you will definitely need to be logged in. And I don't see another situation. It'll be from my home, see, so then pretty much I know what does and doesn't work in my own home office. That will be by, let's say, 3:05, you should be logged in, and the first slide will go on the screen at 3:10. And the test is the same length. It's 8 slides, 5 slidifications, 3 slide analysis or short essays. The requirements are already on the page that you'll get and print out. Do have it printed out in front of you. Well, unless you're doing it all electronically, but I still think you want to have that in front of you when the slides are on the screen. Because then at the end of the exam, I'm not going back. It's just a one-time thing. You'll have plenty of time to write your initial answers, but if you want to double check your facts, whatever you're writing, A and or B, you will want, most of you, if you did it in pen, please write in pen. If you turn it in that way, that's okay. Convert your hand-printed answers. If you print, don't use cursive. How many people know cursive anymore? They don't even teach it, do they? But it needs to be as neatly as possible, hand-printed. If you do that, it's a screenshot method, of course, then convert that into a PDF. So whatever method or format you write your answers in, it needs to be converted to a PDF file. And it needs to say this. Now, okay, it should be obvious that if you want me to, I'll cross out the 2.1. That was for my other 2 classes, and write 1.2. I'll do that now. It's the same format for all the classes, but of course, this class has to write 1.2, art 1.2, final exam. I'll hold this on the screen and hold it up to the screen and hold it for a minute. Final exam, underline, last name, comma, first name. And then send it as a PDF, of course, as I was just saying, to me at markw@aol.com. It's much easier for me to retrieve them, download them, forward them to the readers. get them back, and enter your grades much faster than Outlook. Outlook has just caused so many headaches. And I use it, and if you send it to Outlook, of course, I'll see it eventually, but you won't get a confirmation if you ask for it or you have a question. I don't need to confirm that I got your test unless you ask me to. Hopefully not all 30 or so of you will, but if you ask, I will. But all of it is faster. All of those processes for, emailing back and forth grades are much more efficient. I know you'll think, what? But they are on AOL. Okay. Yeah, I should be recording, and it does say, yeah, right? It is recording. Yeah, thanks. My assistant just handed me a note, and it's always a good thing. I almost did forget once. Okay, so what we're doing now is going to oh yeah, let me finish up with a little bit of the procedural thing. You have until midnight. I've said this again more than once. Same thing as with the midterm. And the reason is to turn in your PDF of your final. I have to have a cutoff, and it has to be as close as possible to an even playing field, equity, right, or equitable standards for both my in-person class. They get time and a half in the class itself because it's in person, but still they have to hand theirs in to me before they leave, and that is hand printed. That's how they're going to do their all of their exams. Well, you guys might need the extra time, and that's why I'm giving you till midnight to convert whatever your original format of hand-printed answers or whatever into a PDF. But that has to be the cutoff. So please keep that in mind. If you send something to me at 11 in the morning the next day, I have to reject it, or else I'm not enforcing standards and pretend to become meaningless. I hope everyone understands that. And it's will be in writing with the email. It was the same I did with the midterm. It worked out pretty well. Now, if someone has, this is the district policy, I think I've said it before, but just to clarify, not mine, that if someone has a, literally last 24 hours before the test, emergency, that is either, there are two categories, medical or family emergency, and they have written evidence or visual, let's just say visual, it could even be a photograph of you and, God forbid that you're in a hospital. I don't wish that on anybody. But if something happens, or at a doctor's office, let alone a prescription or, some kind of a proof that you checked into any kind of medical facility or got a prescription for something that was causing you to feel ill. And family emergency, that's a little harder to prove, but there should be some evidence of that. Like, you had to go see family member that was having an emergency and you have some evidence of that, plane ticket or whatever. That's harder, but it's not my rule. It just has to be the same for everybody. So any kind of visual written evidence only if you had a medical or family emergency during the, we'll say the 48 hours, before the exam or during the exam. Then you are going to have to do a makeup, and that could get sticky. You might not get a full grade at the end of the semester. It depends on what it is that ends up being the makeup, but it will still be a 100-point thing, and it'll be a lot, probably more work than taking the exam. I've done it before, and it always works out, but I'm not going to be able to give for one or two people a whole nother set. Otherwise, people would say, why don't I just wait and take the makeup with, whoever it is that's needing a makeup. So the makeup won't be an exam, but it will be some kind of research type paper, and it'll have the same credit, the same number of points. So that gives it that option only on a dire emergencies. You don't want to have that hanging over your head over the holidays. And I would rather not have to hassle with it. So I can get your grades done in a timely manner. So please be here if you're physically able to, on time between 3 and 3. I will certainly send you the Zoom info unless there's a technical glitch. I doubt that'll happen twice in a row. On Monday at 3:05 at the latest, and we will have the first slide on the screen at 3:10. Okay, so that's the preliminaries. Any questions about what I just said? Pretty straightforward, right? Same thing as what with the midterm. Okay, now let's do the main task. I think everyone would agree for this session. The most valuable, well, there are two, they're related, and then after that, I will stick around for any other questions you have. We'll probably end significantly earlier than usual. but we're not going to rush through this. I put it in writing. I always do that so I don't forget, and you guys can hold me to account if I did, and I don't think I've ever done that. I just did this for my evening Zoom class in 2.1, and they had less slides, but I had put it in writing. 50%, they only have to do X number of slides that they have to study. I mean, that might be on the test. So how many slides do we have? Do you want to count with me? You're welcome to do so. I'm going to do it silently. We're looking at everything starting after the midterm, which is, of course, after week 7, if you're looking at your syllabus, which you do need to do, I think, in order to do this exercise. You want to have your pen and the syllabus printed out in front of you, of course, so that when I tell you to cross out slides that aren't in an exam, you do it together as a group. I'll do it at the same time. Okay, so how many are there first before we begin reducing this list by 50%? Okay. I vary the number is from one semester to another, so that's why I can't do it. We'll have it memorized. Okay, if you're curious. $88. Anybody did the same count? I mean, I could do it twice if you want me to double check, but I was counting very slowly and carefully. 88, that sounds about right. I usually have between the low end 80 and the most up around 95 each semester, depending on, you know, how I modify the number of slides each semester. So if I'm cutting half, it's pretty easy. Half of 88 is 44 slides. It's a lot. We're going to cut. Okay, everybody with me so far? And you have your pens out. So let's flip back. Let's do it slowly, week by week. I will say what you should cross off. For obviously, those are the ones you don't even need to think about. That won't even possibly be on the final. And then at the end, I will do it one more time, week by week, you know, and summarize 1 week at a time. But we're doing this in real time. So I'm going to take a slow, steady approach for each selection by week. In other words, when I tell you this slide isn't on exam, cross it off with your pen. Okay, let's start with week 7. All right. I'm going to cross off Khatib Minar, the second slide down. Okay, we're on week 7, right? On art from India and South Asia. Okay, that's one. And then I'm going to cut the Shwedagon Stupa from Burma or Myanmar, which is what, the third from the bottom. And then the one below that, Kudus Minaret Mosque. For now, that's not quite half, but we have to go back and add more is what I'm saying. We have plenty of time. So for now, those 3, okay, Khatib, I think it is, Minar, Shwedagon Stupa from Burma, and Kudus Minaret Mosque from Indonesia. Okay, week 8. Ming Dynasty Flask, Gingbang Mountains in China, and I'm going to go ahead and cut Poet on a Mountaintop, even though I like it a lot. Poet on a Mountaintop. So that well, that's the first half of week 8. Remember, we covered both Japan and China on week 8. Ming Dynasty Flask, Poet on a Mountaintop from China, and Gingbang Mountains from China. On the next page with Japanese art, we're going to cross off Landscape by Brunei, Lacquer Box by Corin, and Otani Oiji Acting, which is Japanese. Okay, so that's 3 on the next page under week 8. Landscape by Bunsai, Lacquer Box by Corin, and Otani Oniji Acting. Okay, moving on to week 9. Llama from Bolivia. I'm going to cut to Taos Pueblo, not that it's not important, but it's a black and white slide, so you can't tell as much about the color of the texture. So Taos Pueblo from New Mexico. And I was told by some people in higher up, we'll say, during this review process that I probably shouldn't test people on slides that are not part of the traditional syllabus, in other words, not in the textbook. Okay, so Miwok Village, even though, again, I think it's really an important topic. You guys heard the lecture, you got the information, but I'm not going to test you on Miwok Village, Nevada. We got to cut at least one more. Let's see. Okay, Machu Picchu. I'm going to cut Bandolier Bag from Kansas. So again, that it is 4 on week 9. Llama from Bolivia, Bandolier Bag from Kansas, Taos Pueblo from New Mexico, and Miwok Village from Nevada. Okay, week 10. All right. The first and second one are very similar, easy to confuse. So I'm going to cross off, leave the meeting house, leave that on, and carved figure from storehouse doorway. Second one down under week 10, cross that off. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to cross off decorated building in Royal Compound, Republic of Congo, and Reliquary Guardian from Gabon. Let's see, I should try to cut one more. I only have one from Hawaii, so I'm going to try and leave that one out. Well, because the name Maori and Maui could be confusing, it was for me when I was pronouncing them, you might recall from that lecture from week 10, I'm going to cut the second one as a reference to, you know, that part of the world, which is the Maui ancestor figures Easter Island. Okay, so that's 4. Carved figure from storehouse doorway, Maui ancestor figures from Easter Island, decorated building in Royal Compound from the Congo, and Reliquary Guardian from Gabon. Okay, moving on to week 11. Vigie Lebrun, Marie Antoinette, definitely crossed that out. We're going to cross one of the 2 Davids, and I think I'll make it Death of Socrates. Okay. And then, even though I like it a lot, it's not in the textbook. Villiers, Girl at Her Easel, you know, young woman at her easel. That was my own slide. It's not, I don't think it's in any textbooks except books about French female painters, which isn't Stockstead, of course. So 1, 2, 3, let's, then moving on to the next page, and I'll repeat this list. Friedrich Monastery Graveyard in the Snow, then cross off Delacroix Massacre at Chios, sorry. And let's cut at least one more from the previous page. I'm going to go back and then I'll repeat the list for week 11. Okay, I'm going to cut Constable to Hay Wayne. It's actually on the next page.
Mark, could you say those 3 again?
Yeah, I'm about to right now. Sure. It's more than 3, actually. Week 11, well, it's 3 on each page. Under week 11, it was a long, right? The lectures got longer as we got more toward the current times, as I obviously explained why, because we have more evidence of the art. So here we go. It's actually 6 under week 11, 3 on each page. Week 11, first Vigile Lebrun, Marie Antoinette with her children. Then David, death of Socrates. The other one, David, we're leaving. Villers, girl at her easel. Next page. 3 in a row. Friedrich, monastery graveyard in the snow. Delacroix, the massacre at Chios, and Constable de Hayway. Okay, week 12. We're going to cut Hunt, the awakening conscience. Okay. And Renoir, we're going to cut Renoir. I usually leave the ball at the Moulin de la Galette, but I'm going to give you guys a small little, whatever, you know, not a present, I won't say it, but a little gift, I'll say. That's the longest title of any of the, well, one of the 2 longest of the Impressionists. So I'm going to leave the other Renoir, Luncheon of the Boating Party. They both have similar meanings and stylistically. So cross off Renoir, Luncheon, sorry, whoops, Renoir, Ball at the Moulin de la Galette. It's quite a long title. It's less stressful if you don't have to memorize that one or remember it. Okay, Degas, we're going to cut the glass of absinthe, but leave the other Degas. Monet, we're going to cut Rouen Cathedral portal. And Rodin, well, I hate to do this, but I got to cut, when you have 2 of the same artists, you got to cut at least one of them. So let's see. I think the Thinker gives you more of a realistic image of his style. You know, he usually did bronze, if you remember. Bronze and cast, of course, from clay. So we'll cross off Rodin the Kiss. As much as I hate to do that. Okay, moving on to week 13. Cezanne, I'm going to leave Mont Saint Victoire because it's a better image, the slide is, of his style of building blocks of color. So Cezanne self-portrait, cross that off. Okay. Van Gogh, we got to cut one of them. And I'm going to go ahead and leave Wheatfield and Cypress Trees because everybody should know Starry Night at a glance. It's so obvious. It's almost a cliche. So Van Gogh, the second one, Starry Night, the Village, cross that off. And then Gauguin, we'll cross off Day of the God, the last one. Again, I'll repeat those. Did I repeat the ones up on week 12? I don't know if I did. So again, that's Hunt, the Awakening Conscience. I don't think I did. Renoir, Ball at the Moulin de la Galette. Degas, The Glass of Absinthe. Monet, Rouen Cathedral Portal. And Rodin, The Kiss. Moving on to back onto week 13, 3. Cezanne, Self-Portrait. Van Gogh, Starry Night, The Village. And Gauguin, Day of the God. Okay, week 14.
Hey, Mark.
Yes, please, go ahead. At any point, you can ask questions. Yes, what? Question? I can't hear you if your microphone's on. Is there someone I let everybody in tonight. Yeah, I did. Right.
I'm so sorry. My connection's really unstable. Do you think you could repeat week 13 for me, please?
Sure. There's no rush here. Yeah, it's 3 now. It'll probably go up because I don't think we can get to 44 before we go back over the list again. So for now, it's 3 under week 13. You cut Cezanne, Self-Portrait. Van Gogh, Starry Night, The Village, and Gauguin, Day of the God. Okay, week 14. Boy, this is a hard one. Of course, it's mine. Okay, let's cut Wright, Falling Water. Okay, Morgan Administration Building. Oh, someone's here. We're in the middle of doing the review, which you can watch the first part we've already cut. But I'm going to go over the list again. You just joined us, right? One more time before we move on to reduce the terms. So right now, if you have your syllabus in front of you, you should follow along. We're on week 14. Okay, and then I'll go back and repeat everything. Okay, but for now, we're finishing up with week 14 on early modern architecture. Morgan, the administration building at Silomar, and I already said Wright, Falling Water. Got to cut at least one of the others from the first page of week 14. So let's go back to that. Well, I'm going to cut the Eiffel Tower because it's just such an almost cliche image, even though it is an important historic structure. Okay, so again, under week 14, I'll repeat that. It's Eiffel, the Eiffel Tower, Wright, Falling Water, and Morgan Administration Building at Asilomar. Okay, week 15, we'll cut more than usual here. Le Corbusier, Villa Savoy. Johnson, the Glass House. Piano and Rogers, the Pompidou Center. Graves, I'm going to cut this, the Portland Services Building. Technically, these are past the period we're supposed to stop, which is early 20th century, like circa, I don't know, 1920s or 50 anyway at the latest. So that's another reason to cut them. And I think I'll even cut, this might get us to 44. Well, let's see how many we have. Let's see. I'm going to leave I am pay though for now, but I may cut that as, we'll probably need to cut more. So again, everybody's got, for now, it's 4 under week 15. Le Corbusier, Villa Savoy, Johnson, the Glass House, Piano and Rogers, the Pompidou Center, and Graves, the Portland Services Building. So how many have we cut? Let us go back. And it has to be 44 to reach the 50%. I've never done that before, but I figured, you know, it's a holiday, it's Christmas, it's New Year's, it's Hanukkah, whatever. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Wow, we got to cut 6 more. That's not going to be easy, but that's why I'm taking this whole session to do this review. And it's only 3:38, so we're in good shape. So let's flip back to week 7, and I'm going to cut one of the. I'm going to cut Akbar, because it's such a long title, Inspecting the Construction of Fatehpur Sikri from India. Okay. That's the 3rd one down on the week 7. Okay. And that brings us to 39. So if we cut 1 each week, we'll be at 44. Then week 8. Okay, we're going to cut Fusuma by Ituku. So that gets us to 40. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut, I'm going to leave Machu Picchu and Calder Stone, and I think Templo Mayor, because it's, I don't really have, it's a drawing and it's not that clear, you know, of the details. So week 9, Templo Mayor, 2nd one down. Even though if you get to Mexico City, if you haven't already, you should definitely visit that site. It's right behind the cathedral, and a lot of tourists don't even know it's there. It's the original main pyramid for the Aztecs. Pretty impressive. They found it while digging, right, subway line, and they're slowly restoring it. Okay, week 10. Cut this pretty drastically already. Okay, week 11, we can cut a couple more, I think. All right, Blake, Newton Measuring the Universe, even though I like that slide. Okay. We've already cut a lot there, so we're almost there. We just need 3 more. Okay. I'm going to cut Paxton. I hate to do it. Paxton, the Crystal Palace. It is an old black and white photo, right? Under week 4. I'll repeat this whole list in just a couple couple minutes or a few minutes when we finish. Okay. Saarinen, the TWA terminal, we'll cut that. And even though I think it's important, I'm going to go ahead and cut the pyramid.
What was that last one that you just cut? I apologize.
Sorry.
The last one that was just cut.
Yeah, and I'll repeat all of them in a minute, but Saarinen, TWA terminal. See, anything after about mid-1900s is technically out of the scope of the, historic range of this course. So giving you guys that break, but also so is the pyramids at the Louvre, as much as I think those are really important. Nonetheless, it's, look at it, almost 1989. So there we go. That's 44. I will repeat them all right now. Let's do that together slowly. And then I'll just make sure you should be following along with me. So you make sure you don't overlook any that are due to be cut, or are being cut, I should say, not due to be cut. We're doing that now in real time. Okay, so here we go. Week 7, I'll tell you how many that we cut from each week. It's 4. Qutb Minar from India. I'll say them all slowly. Akbar, inspecting the construction of Fatehpur Sikri, long title, India. Then Shwedagon Stupa from Burma. Then Kudus Minaret Mosque from Indonesia. Okay, that's 4 from week 7. Week 8, the total we cut is 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Okay, Ming Dynasty flask from China, Poet on a Mountaintop from China, and Ging Bang Mountains from China. Next page. Landscape by Bunsai, Fusuma by Itoko, Lacquer Box by Koren, and Otani Anji acting. Okay, everybody got those. All right, week 9, we're cutting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Templo Mayor, Mexico City. Llama from Bolivia. Bandolier Bag from Kansas. Taos Pueblo from New Mexico, and Miwok Village from Nevada. Okay, week 10, we're cutting 4 more. Car figure from Storehouse Doorway from New Zealand. Maui ancestor figures from Easter Island. Decorated building in Royal Compound, Republic of Congo. And the last one is Reliquary Guardian from Gabon. Okay. Week 11, we're cutting 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, 7. Okay, Vigile-Brun, Marie Antoinette with her children. David, Death of Socrates. Villers, Girl at her easel. Blake, Newton measuring the universe. Friedrich, Monastery Graveyard in the Snow. Delacroix, The Massacre at Chios, and Constable, The Haywain. Okay, week 12, we're cutting 5. Hunt, The Awakening Conscience. Renoir, Ball at the Moulin de la Galette. Degas, The Glass of Absinthe. Monet, Rouen Cathedral Portal, and Rodin, The Kiss. Okay, moving on to week 13, we're cutting 3. Cezanne, Self-Portrait. Van Gogh, Starry Night, The Village, and Gauguin, Day of the God. Okay, week 14, let's see, 1, 2, 4. Paxton, The Crystal Palace. Eiffel, The Eiffel Tower. Wright, Falling Water, and Morgan Administration Building at Asilomar. Okay, and the last week 15, we're cutting 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Week 15, we're cutting Le Corbusier, Villa Savoy, Johnson, The Glass House, and the last 4, Serena TWA Terminal, Piano and Rogers, the Pompidou Center, Graves, Portland Services Building, and Pay Pyramids at the Louvre. And that helps make a decision. Okay, everybody should have those. Now, this will all be posted by 8 p.m. on Friday, or if not sooner, for anyone who missed part of it or wants to go back and refresh your memory. But the main point is now you have the list, the study list, the 44, half of the total that might be on the exam. 8 of which you, as you know from the way the midterm was, if you joined us late, it's exactly the same number of slides, same format, the same number of points, and it's all in real time. I'm not recording it or putting it on YouTube because my in-person class doesn't have that advantage. But you guys have till midnight to submit your PDF of your answers. And I already held this thing up. I'm going to do it again, which is the format to send it in, you know, how to write that. It's on the screen at the beginning of this lecture. If you didn't see that, you go watch it on YouTube. I actually did it last week too, or even on Monday, didn't I? Okay, we're segueing to the second task for today. And that's cutting the list of terms to know. So in order to do that, I don't promise 50%. I mean, it's not as long, anywhere near as long a list. So that'd be overkill to cut that many terms. I'm going to cut terms as they are related to some of the stuff. For instance, I think I have postmodernism on here. I may not. Let's see if I do. No, I didn't. I took it off already, but I'm going to cut at least a third. But in order to do that, like we just did, we have to do a count of how many terms there are. So we start with after the 4 features of Baroque art, that was from the midterm, right? So everything below that. So how many are there now before we do the reduction? 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20. So that is not evenly dividable by by 3. If it was 21, we'd cut 7. I hate odd numbers. So if we cut 7, that leaves 13. I'm going to try and give you guys a little extra break, call it what you want, an extra early holiday gesture of help by cutting it maybe 8. That's 40%. I think I can come up with 8 terms that will cut. That will leave only 12 to study. Remember how that appears. They would appear as part of the true false, the definitions. You know, it worded in some way that's clearly related to a definition, and then you have the definition in front of you if it's not one that was cut, and it appears on the true false. And if any part of that statement, that question is, or statement rather, isn't correct or is false, the whole thing is false. That's exactly the same process we did with the true false part of the midterm. Worth the same. There are 5 of them. There were 2 points each. Okay. So let's go all the way back and do this together like we just did. Boy, this is going to be hard because these terms are so important here. Let me just give it a little thought here. Okay. Okay, one I can definitely cut because we never saw a slide of is Mayan bloodletting ritual. On the next page, we can cut synthetism. No, we have to really get, okay. I'm just looking at what I left on it. This will help guide which ones are not are expendable in terms of not having them left on the definitions list. Okay, what do we have? Minaret. I mean, most of you know what a minaret is when you see one, I think. Stupa, you can cut stupa. This is on, right, the earlier page, underneath 4 main features of Baroque art. So that's minaret, stupa. But Hinduism and Buddhism, kind of important to the meaning of some of the slides that are still on the study list. And Gopura probably too, right? Okay. Chinese 3-tier, that's important. Oh. Let me see. I don't think I have any. Yeah, pagoda. You can cut pagoda. Okay. Already said synthetism, right? All right, what have we got here? Let's see. Oh, mogul. Yeah, because even though one or two slides have to do with it, you won't have to know the definition itself to answer the true false. So what have we got here? We've cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got to cut 2 more. Well, we don't have to. I could cut 7, and that would be more than a third. Because impressionism and pointillism, building blocks of color. Okay, Gopura. That's back up on the first of the page that follows after. I'll repeat this list, of course. 4 main features of Baroque art. Now I've reached over a third, but let's see what's left. Hinduism, and we have at least, I'm just tracking with this because it's different each semester. If I did the same thing every semester, you know, obviously students in past semesters could give a heads up to their next follow-up classes and their fellow friends in those classes as to what is and isn't going to be on the exam. So I never do the same list for either the reduction of the slide study list or the terms the same way each semester. Okay, so otherwise I just read it to you, then we'd be done. Okay, I need to see if, let's see, do we have, well, this may sound like an odd selection, but I think we could, because I don't have any slides of Hindu deities. That's in Art 1.1. We cover that in detail. I think we can cut that, but Buddhism is part of the meaning of at least 3 of the slides from Asia that I didn't cut. So, okay. Anyway, I hate to do that, but I promise you I get, and it's an even number, A and B now. It's over, it's at like 40%. So I'll say it again now. That means we've cut 8. Gopura, Minaret, Hinduism, and Stupa. That doesn't mean that that might not be part of the meaning on, right, the slides that are from those cultures. As part of the meaning is the function. If it's an architectural slide, of course, it's always important. Remember that to start with. Well, I would recommend in the meaning paragraph on the slide essay questions with what the purpose of the building was and whether it's changed. And that's all stuff I gave you during the lectures in the notes, of course. And by the way, I don't cut the, someone asked me this, no one ever did before after what, 3 semesters in a row of distance learning. I don't go back and remove every single lecture I've ever given before the tests, but it would be a lot for you to wait to 2.5 hours plus of each week's lectures to find the exact answer to the exact, you know, I mean, it's better to just use your notes as you should have and your books, any book, of course, whatever. And I can't control whether you use electronic devices at home, obviously. That's in in-person class. I do have to ask people to put their phones under their desks or any other electronic devices, but they can have any book or any set of notes that they want. Okay, so here we go. It's one. Let's make sure it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so here we go. These are the ones you cut from the total list of terms to know. Gopura, Minaret, Hinduism, and Stupa. That's the first page. Moving on, you're cutting 2 more. Pagoda and Mayan bloodletting ritual. And then you're cutting synthetism. Oh, I'm sorry, you're cutting 3 from the second page. My apologies. Mogul, pagoda, and Mayan bloodletting ritual. All right, and then the last page is just synthetism, which is Gauguin's post-impressionist style. Okay, yeah, I think that's, yep, it's 8. So there's 40%. All right, anybody need me to repeat that? Any of those? Because here we are, it's not quite 4 o'clock and we've done all the major tasks we were set out to do. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, did you say post-impressionism or we're keeping that one?
Well, I'm going to keep it because I might decide to use that on the true false section.
Okay, so
I was going to cut it, but I thought I'll leave that because Hinduism doesn't appear as a, well, you know what? I'll have to think about that. If I send you an email, I will anyway, to remind you not of all this. We've covered this. It's on video as of 8 p.m. on YouTube, I mean, for you to review. So for now, assume that post-impressionism could be on the true-false section of the exam. But I may decide to substitute that because that was my dilemma, is whether or not post-impressionism is better to cut than Hinduism. So if somehow I take a look at my options, because I only have so much time, right, to create each of the tests for 3 different classes and get them to you by Sunday, as well as grade late papers. I've gotten quite a few. I may decide to go ahead and cut that as well. And if I do that, it'll be in the email, which you can look for by Friday at the latest, which will be reminding everyone. All 3 of my classes will get emails separately, of course, as to the timing and process and requirements for the exams. Plus this list of slides we've cut, as well as the definitions, will be posted on YouTube by 8 p.m. on Friday, probably sooner, maybe even Thursday. And when I've done that, I'll send an email to everybody so you know, okay, I can go look at this lecture on YouTube anytime between now and the test. And of course, I can, you can then, if you weren't here for the beginning, complete your reduction of crossing off slides that aren't going to be on the test, as well as know if I did decide to cut even one more term from the study list, I would do that, but in the email, the instructional email, which will be no later than 8 p.m. Friday on YouTube. I mean, the email will be separate, as well as this video will be by 8 p.m. So sometime after that, certainly anytime over the weekend after Friday evening, you can get all the information, verify, double check, whatever, review, refresh your memory for the procedural and the I call it reduction processes of the 2 lists of terms and the list of slides to know. So double check your email over the weekend. I may cut one more of them. Okay, anybody have any questions about anything at all? Extra credits or what we've covered?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I sent you a thing in the chat. I can't find my physical copy of the syllabus I printed out, and I can't find the email you sent it at the beginning of the semester. I was just wondering if you could resend me the
I can resend it, sure. But you do need to, yeah, so you'll have to go back and watch this video then, I guess, to do the cross.
I took notes on everything.
Oh, well, that's good. That'll save you time. Good. Yeah. Would you email me at markw@aol, because I can send that to you. My files are on I call it mainframe, but then people tell me, what? That's IBM's headquarters. Okay. Tabletop. Yeah. My non-laptop, this laptop only has so much room, as you know, some of you. It just has enough room to store the videos that I need to, of course, keep and then post, and then I delete those little by little so it doesn't overload. So I don't have any files but I have them at home. I'm not going to get home till 11 o'clock tonight. So tomorrow, yes, you'll get that from me. Just send me an email to Mark W. Anybody else that's listening or that hears this video, I hope that's only 1 or 2 people that somehow I know it happens. So it's not a problem. I have them stored on my main computer at home, and then I'll forward them to you before 5 tomorrow, probably sooner. Okay, that should help, I hope.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, of course, that's what we're here for. Any other questions relating to what we just reviewed? If you joined us late, then I'm not going to repeat everything because you can watch the video again after 8 p.m. on Friday. But I'll also summarize just the requirement part of it, the procedural part in an email to everybody in each class, possibly Thursday, but no later than Friday evening. Okay. Yes, question.
Yeah, so if we want to make sure that the definitions that we wrote down are 100% correct and we didn't miss anything out, like, is there like, are you able to tell us like what weeks each one, like we can find them in to quickly review, make sure for the definitions, or?
No, that's a little too complex right now. I will just say that if you follow along with the syllabus and what's left on the syllabus, for instance, that's why I didn't cut post-impressionism, because there's still several slides of post-impressionist, and the labeling above, you know, I label carefully and accurately the same as what's on the syllabus for each week's lecture. So that's how you would do it. And you guys can fast forward, I mean, right? Fast forward to whatever image it is you want to check. So, or topic relating to that definition. That's the best I can tell you. That is part of this process of studying, of course. And since it's an open book test, that's pretty reasonable, I think. I'm sorry, it just is too time. That would be too time consuming.
It's all good. Thank you.
Yeah, you understand. Yeah, if I didn't have, you know, about 8 things to do between now and the actual final, and then more afterwards, you guys, your task is done once you finish that last submission of your exam, and ours is not just beginning, but still, obviously, we have until the end of December to get all the grades in. And I never missed a deadline. I'm proud of that, but that's part of because I used to accept late work right up until the day before grades were due. What an insane thing! I don't know why I did that to myself. And I still managed to make it, but I would be up until 11:45 that night, you know, trying to enter the grades. I like to get them in well before the deadline, maybe even on the 30th, certainly no later than noon on the 31st. They're due at midnight on New Year's Eve, all your grades. And then you can look for them in your cubby on January 3rd, I think it is. Well, it says it right here, just in case I don't get to that when yeah, it's at the bottom, January 3rd, Monday, January 3rd, your grades will be posted on your cubby. SRJC website. Okay, any other questions? Because that's what we're here for.
Mark?
Yeah.
Would you be willing to repeat one definition if I thought I totally missed it, or do you want me to like go back and...
that's doable. Yeah, which one is it?
Okay, yeah, I think I just missed the building blocks of color definition.
Sure. Yeah, it's a style of post-impressionist painting. I'll say it slowly. Invented by Cezanne, right? Cezanne, in which he used firmly placed brushstrokes of alternating warm and cool hues, okay, together with a bold outline around the main objects. It could be a person, it could be a piece of fruit. You know, he was famous for his paintings of apples and oranges and things. So again, he used firmly placed brushstrokes of alternating warm and cool hues together with a bold outline on his main objects. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I think I do remember that one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, if anyone else has that kind of specific question, I'm happy to answer that. Of course, that's on the video, but for one definition, I have no problem doing that. Anybody else have any other questions relating either that kind or don't forget your extra credit options if you joined us late. That extends that deadline till midnight on Saturday after the exam. So you'll have several more days if you think you might not have done as well, or you just want to give yourself some kind of cushion for, you know, the maximum points possible. Nobody's gotten 60 yet. You have up till 60. If you want to ask your total points, you know this throughout the semester. I've always repeated it several times that you can email me and you'll get whatever your total points is, and I'll summarize what that means in terms of your letter grade. And then you can figure out how many more points you need, what on the final, of course, or extra credit to get the grade you want for the final course grade.
Hey, Mark, I'm sorry. Do you think you could just repeat the last half of that definition?
Oh, the one I just gave?
Yeah, I wasn't able to get it all.
Oh, did you get the part about the firmly placed brushstrokes, I hope?
Yeah, I got up until...
All right, and then combined with bold outlines around the main objects, period. That's it. Those two things together are what he did. I mean, he's famous for his still lifes of oranges and apples and things, but he did it on portraits, on landscapes. So any main object in his painting, he could do those two things together. That's what building blocks of colors imply. His term, he defined it. That's his definition. Okay, Cezanne, of course. Anybody else with any other specific questions that I haven't addressed? And of course, you can email me and I'll get back to you usually within 24 hours. You know, I don't check my email after around 8 at night or 9 sometimes, but if you send me an email and I don't see it that day, usually you'll get an answer within 24 hours. Okay, I think we've succeeded in covering the tasks, or completing the tasks that we needed to help you guys study the most effectively and not waste time, things that won't be on the exam. So I will see you all. I will log on well before 3:05, but you guys should, even when it's joining, as some people do, a few minutes after everyone else. Try not to log on or be ready to log on no later than 3:05, so that you have enough time to catch your breath, get your notes in front of you, and your printed out version of the exam. So you'll be ready to start filling in the answers when the first slide hits the screen at 3:10 on Monday. And when you're done, you're done. You can log off, of course. I'll stick around after the last slide again for any follow-up questions, but not about the answers that you just gave, because that would be giving it away, of course. Those will be up to me and the readers to calculate how you did. And again, you'll know your grade by the 3rd, but you can email me if you want. However, I'm going to take a couple of days off between Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. But I will get back to you if you ask me specifically how many points you got on the exam, or the grade in your class. I will do that. You don't always have to wait till the 3rd, but that's when you all get your grades. Your letter grades, not the final exam grades, but the total points, how many ever they add up to your letter grade, of course. No pluses, no minuses. You know that the JC doesn't do that. Every 4-year college does, and it affects your GPA, but here it's just a straight letter grades. Okay, I think we covered quite a bit, considering we had all those glitches getting started, early on. Everybody okay now? You know what to do, and thank you all for your patience, your participation, and it's hard to believe I'll see you all one more time, which will be Monday, about 3 o'clock, or 3:03, when I will log in everyone who's already entered. And I'll certainly see you all before 3:10, I hope, because that's when the first slide hits the screen. Okay, any questions? One last time. You guys have been very, appreciate your input and your comments and, feedback and the extra credit options. Some fascinating photos I've gotten. I always try to comment on those. Some of the ones I got of Maybach and other sites, and Julie Morgan's, those have been really fabulous. So
nice.
I hope that means you'll go out and look at those kinds of sites and places, or artwork in real places like museums after the class is over, and now understand and appreciate it more based on what you learned. I hope in this class that'll stay with you, again, even if you forget every date. In fact, the concepts, the techniques, the ideas behind what the artists are trying to create. That's the key to this art survey course. Hopefully that stays with you. All right, thank you guys. All right, that's it.
Thank you.
See you next week. You're welcome. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.